Yeah, right, guys.
Yeah, very well. First game under the new leader, Amorim. What did you make of it?
I mean, I've just watched it, and honestly, I think they've got a long way to go. I think anyone, I'm going to be pretty honest here, anyone who's watching this game and thinking, we got a new manager, new bounce, and they think they're going to go to Ipswich and, smash them, 3-0 or something, I think you're crazy. I think there's no way with this team that they were going to have a strong performance. And thank God for Onana. I mean, I think he did, 2 amazing saves that honestly kept him in the game. The fact that it was 1-0 is a miracle. I don't understand how. I mean, he's only been in a week, Amorim now. So you can make the excuse that he hasn't had a lot of time to really get the tactics down and all that. And I'm not sure how I feel about Rashford as a centre forward and this whole idea of having Bruno behind. I feel like it's not really set up for them. I will say though that Diallo had a pretty good game. I think he's making good runs, and I feel like runs is what we really need in this Man United team. I'm just looking at the fixtures now. We got Everton at home next week. We can't beat Ipswich. Well, the thing is, people are probably thinking, it's just Ipswich, so, it should be an easy game. But then I'm also thinking it's just Man United. Man United aren't the same team they used to be. Anyone who's thinking that, from the Fergie days, it's not.
Nowhere, not even close. And, I think Amorim has gone in there, and I think, as I said right at the top of the show to you, Madge, I think he's got more questions today than answers in terms of that performance, because he's probably looking at this squad and looking at his sporting squad and thinking, wow, what have I actually got here? Because when you look at the back four, well, the back three as it is now, that doesn't, fill you with confidence. The legs in the team, Ugarte, Mount and Manu, were all on the bench today. He didn't trust them for whatever reason to start his first games, and that's a bit of a concern. But, when you look at that team, it's not, and they were average today. Whatever way you look at that, that was an average Man United performance, regardless who the manager was. Yeah, absolutely. In terms of players that shouldn't be starting next season for you, James, who's top of the list for you?
It's hard to say because, a lot of these, especially older players, you can maybe have a soft spot for, but then you got to think, do the price tags for them really, justify it? You got to wonder what's going to happen even this January in the transfer, if he's really going to do anything. I honestly think he needs to. I don't know how he's going to make that work because he's got a system that he's clearly, very eager to try and mould these players around. But, I bet he's really wishing he brought, what is it, Gyökeres from Sporting. Yeah. I watched some videos earlier in the week, in the run-up to Amorim coming in, and they were all saying that Højlund, he could be that Gyökeres. They could mould him, just give him time. But when you're looking at these upcoming fixtures, Everton next week at home, maybe that could be a winnable game, and it'll after this week they'll have a talk and sort things out. But then you get Arsenal. I mean, I think they're going to get butchered for that.
Well,
and then City 2 weeks after.
You look at Gyökeres, he's playing for Coventry for a long period. He looked the best striker in the Championship to me by a mile. No one took him. And Sporting, he went to Sporting in the end, and, he looks like he's going to come back for about 80 million, 60 to 80 million. It's incredible. So, you're talking, in my opinion, a different level of player to Højlund at the moment. Højlund is a long way from where Gyökeres is playing, in terms of the level.
Yeah, definitely.
But, as you say, January will be interesting because the problem Man United have always found, and you always find, for example, if I'm Newcastle manager or Crystal Palace manager, I want to take a Man United player who might not be fancied. It's the money. It's always the money. It's just too much. It's too rich. So, to actually move some of those players on, Madge, is going to be difficult because of the salary and, the commitment that you got to make.
Well, this is the argument I was having with someone the other day when we're talking about Spurs and comparing the businesses. I'm like, you got to understand that Daniel Levy's not going to do that to Spurs and have people on the money that some of these players are on. 400 grand a week, Casemiro's on. 250 grand a week, Mount's on.
32 or 33, whatever he is.
It's just, and all of a sudden, like you say, especially the way they've chopped and changed managers, as have we, manager comes in and doesn't fancy him. You've got someone on the bench with another 3 years at that money. It just doesn't make any sense. It's poor business.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.